So one of my favourite films is Ferris Bueller's Day Off, because I'm of that age and I remember it when it originally came out at the age of 47. And one of my favourite quotes from Ferris Bueller's Day Off is, "Life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and look around every once in a while, you could miss it." So traditionally as ADHDers, we don't like to stop and look around. We don't like to stop and pause and reflect. I don't know what that's all about. Why do we not enjoy that, Steph? What's going on there?
Yeah, I had this exact same issue with a client yesterday. I was getting her to stop and reflect on her past achievements, and she started crying. And I'm thinking, this is great. Good one, Stephanie. You're meant to like help with emotional regulation, not emotionally dysregulate people. But what came out of it was that, because again, we're so hard on ourselves, and I know a lot of our members have talked about this in the group this week about achievements, and that, you know, if it's too easy, it's not an achievement, right? And so they can't really come up with anything because they haven't really tried very hard. So there's that side of things. There's also the fact that when they look back, a lot of very kind of negative emotions of shame and guilt, you know, not feeling like you've succeeded, even though actually, you know, really succeeded very highly. Like this lady was getting prizes at school, you know, at university. She was like made head of like this huge kind of university group of 250 students. She couldn't bring those things to mind. And when she did kind of think back to achievements, it just brought all the kind of negative up. Because of not understanding her ADHD, she didn't even know she had it. And she's always had those feelings of failure. Because we don't really, our working memory is quite, you know, well, is not what it should be. We tend to rely on our emotional kind of memory. And so, yeah, and that's kind of what happened with her. So basically, that's why we don't tend to want to reflect, because it is sometimes very painful.
Yeah, I think you're right, because you just automatic assumption, because we're so hard on ourselves and we feel guilty all the time, we feel that shame. And it didn't occur to me, Steph, until you just said that about the emotional memory. And that's what plugs in. So you go guilt, shame. Oh, I've achieved nothing again this week. I didn't do this. I should have done that. I don't want to look. I don't want to look and reflect on the week, because it's just, or I'll have another week where I think, oh my God, you know, another week's gone by. And what have I done? And then you think you're going to compound the guilt and shame even more. And actually, by properly stopping and reflecting, you know, when you're in a good place, when your tank is slightly full, or you're not hungry or you're tired, and you just generally not make yourself guilty for taking that time out as well, and making it part of your day or part of the end of your week routine, you actually then recall, I think, because you're taking that emotional memory out once you're in that place, and give yourself that space to do it. And I think that's the biggest thing that I will be reflecting on this week when I do that this afternoon, is that I've given myself pause, and I've given myself permission to pause, rather than thinking I'm not productive right now. It is really productive to be taking that time to pause and actually thinking, do you know what, I did this week and that went really well, and this was great, and I'm grateful for